Hello, welcome to Speaking Freely with Keeley. Yep, that's me. God, every time I do that, I can't help but say it extremely cheesily. But hello, welcome to my first ever podcast on my own. So normally I have my own radio station on This is Riverside, but seeing as we've been ousted from the studio due to this corona, I thought I'd make my own. Why not? Do you know what I mean? But this isn't actually my first show. Well, it is theoretically, but I actually made my own show the other day. 45 minutes, actually, it was, which was quite amazing to me that I could talk for so long. Well, it's not. I mean, I do understand that I can talk for long periods of time, but I was astounded at how long I could actually talk for. So I did it day one on of this self-isolation with the coronavirus. We are now on day 3, and I'm recording my first episode again. I had to leave it a day. I was a bit depleted after I lost that whole 45 minutes. When I say I lost it, I basically I didn't do a mic test, and basically the sound was completely off. You couldn't hear anything. It sounded very extraterrestrial, a different language altogether, really. So yes, I'm starting again. But it's awful when you put that much of investment into something, or your creativity, and it flows out of you, and then you lose it. Happened to me before, actually, when I wrote a book for my mum, about my mum. It was all to do with, me growing up as a child, and the different stages in the relationship that we had and shared, and I guess ultimately how I viewed her as a human being and as an incredible mother and so forth. And I was so excited to give it to her. I was so close as well to finishing this book, but then I lost it. I lost it all. I wrote it all on my phone. I spent hours and hours and hours sat on a beach, or many beaches in Sydney, and buses and whatnot, writing this book, and I lost it all. Poof, like the magic dragon, gone. Honestly, I was so depleted. It was awful. What was worse was that obviously I told my mum that I was writing this book for her and that I had nearly finished it, and then I lost it. And then obviously I couldn't write it again. You just can't. You can't write a book again. I mean, hours, blood, sweat, and tears went into this book. I lost it. So gone. That's it now. Gone into the universe. That energy, that everything that I wrote for my mum, gone. So I'm trying to do that again with this show, but obviously just seeing what comes out of me now. It's not fresh off the mark anymore. But yes, day 3 of self-isolation. This coronavirus. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room here. As I'm streaming this, actually, I could probably hear a little bit of noise interference, but I'm actually recording this show in my back garden. What a bloody lovely day it's been. Honestly, the weather has been absolutely incredible. I feel like it's summer. I'm so excited. We had weeks of just grey misery, and now the sun is shining. So that's made me really happy. So yeah, I'm sat in my garden. You might be able to hear some birds tweeting away in a minute. And I've got my dog. Oh, my little doggy sat next to me, which is incredible. I love my dog. Yeah, I love you. So yeah, let's talk about the coronavirus. What on earth is going on in this world? It's very, very strange, isn't it? Very strange. So it's day 3 of self-isolation. So obviously the country's taken this much more seriously now. And just actually went to Asda. And I think they're only letting something like 30 people in the store at once. So it's like one in, one out, which is such a bizarre sequence. It's really, really weird. It's like, when you go to a night out and it's so full in there, it's one in, one out. It's a bit like that, but when you get in there, the supermarket's empty. But obviously it's so that you can keep your safe distance apart, which I get. But it's very peculiar when you go to the shops and you see all these people wearing their gloves. Like this woman today, she had a gloves on, but she also made her little tiny children, who are probably like 5, wear gloves too. Which is I understand it. They don't want to obviously pick up the coronavirus on their hands and whatnot, but you're touching things in the shop, right, with your gloves on. You're picking up all your shopping. You're going to take it home and you're going to put it all in the fridge. And then at some stage, after you've taken the gloves off, surely you're going to go back in that fridge and pick up those grapes, pick up that loaf of bread or whatever it is that you purchased from that shop without your gloves on. Unless you're going to Dettol everything, bleach everything, or continually change your gloves all the time and constantly wear them. I don't really understand how that concept works, but what a time to be raised as a child. Do you know what I mean? That must be a very strange concept. Up until the age of 5, everything that happens to you is pretty detrimental to your development and how you look at life. So imagine if this goes on for months, and as a kid, you're very self-conscious about keeping your social distance, from people. You're very conscious about, sorry, I just got to let my dog in. Want to go outside? Go on in. In you go. Bless his little god socks. He'll be out again in a minute. So yeah, and then imagine having to wear all these gloves and things every time you go to the shop. So surely that's going to have a developmental impact on these children. Very interesting indeed. How have I responded to this coronavirus? Do you know what? I've been pretty bloody chill, which is terrible. I mean, it is obviously a really, crazy, terrible thing that is happening because people are sadly, unfortunately, dying, which is very, very sad, and I'm not going to bypass that. But that said, I mean, obviously, it's going to shake up the world, it's going to shake up the economy, and it's time for a change. And do you know what? For me, what I'm learning is that change is the best thing for humans. Change is what keeps us young. Change is what keeps our minds, our brains going. I always think that change is an excellent thing, and even though it's pretty scary and there's that time of uncertainty, I think, especially in this system that we live in, I don't necessarily think that the economy is suited for the human spirit, particularly in England, I would say. So I think it's good to shake the system, and to see the impacts of the corona. So, for example, with pollution, like this is such an accelerated test to see what impact the coronavirus has on Mother Nature, because none of the industry are working. So there's no planes, there's hardly any cars, there's hardly any pollution at all. Even in Venice right now, you can already within a week you can see the water. Well, you can obviously see the water anyway, but you can actually see through the water, and you can see the fishies, and also as well there's a dolphin that was caught swimming through the waters in Venice, which hasn't been seen in over 60 years. That's pretty incredible. And also, like, you can smell it in the air. Like, everything just feels so much cleaner. There's a calmness in the air. And the weather, I don't know, it might just be completely sporadic, and no link whatsoever into some massive coincidence. But the weather has been just incredible. And at this awful time, when it was really dark and really grey for so long, coronavirus comes out, everything stops, and the sun comes out, and it's beautiful. And it's, yeah, I don't know, I just think it's a really hard and fast test to see what the impact of, a decrease in pollution and what it does to the earth. And if we can obviously see the impact of that, then maybe, just maybe, that might have an impact on us as humans, on humanity and our consciousness moving forward, and how we respond, or how we, look at things like renewable energy, how we, when we go back into starting our pollutive ways again, and whether that is something that we're going to think about a little bit more and be more mindful of. I certainly hope so. Got to be good to Mother Earth. She's beautiful. It's very beautiful. Okay, cool. So day 3 of isolation. What have I been doing? I don't know why, but I've always been pretty chill about this coronavirus. Maybe it's because I'm not. I'm very, very blessed and very, very fortunate actually in the situation that I'm in. That I'm 32 years old and I'm back at my mum's house. I'm like a bloody boomerang. She can't get rid of me. Oh, honestly, I'm always here, there, everywhere, traveling around the world, coming back. She loves it. I don't know if she does, to be honest, but I just kind of throw myself on her. But I am very, very grateful, and I do this time around. I really do appreciate, and I've been very humbled to have my mum here to look out for me. I was living in London with a flat. Unfortunately, I did lose my jobs. I had more than one. I had 3 actually. But yeah, I came home to my mum because I didn't want to be on my own in my tiny little flat in London. I would have gone out of my mind a little bit, especially on my own, because I'm a bit of an extrovert, you see. I like to be around people. So I come back to my mum's in Somerset. So yeah, like it's, I feel very privileged, very honoured, and it's a really lovely place to isolate because I can walk and have self-isolating walks without, being surrounded by people. Whereas London, it's kind of kind of hard to escape people in London, really. So yeah, I feel very blessed that I haven't got too much responsibility right now, and that I do have my mum that I can come back and fall back on. And obviously, I want to try and help her out as much as I can. I've been mowing the lawn now. First time I've ever mowed the lawn. 32 years old, and the first time I've ever mowed a lawn. I don't know if I should be saying that. It's not very grown up of me, is it? Honestly, sometimes I feel like a child still. Also, what I have been doing since I've been home. So I moved back from London. I say moved, but I just quickly packed a suitcase of stuff. Like made a mad dash back to Somerset before this self-isolating laws lockdown kicked in. And I've left my stuff in my flat there. So after the initial move back to Somerset, I was having a little think on it and was thinking, do you know what? I don't like my flat. It's not really, it's not my cup of tea. It never has been. So this is probably the perfect opportunity to leave my flat and actually officially move out, because I want to do it anyway. So it's perfect timing. There's no point paying for something to live in when I'm not actually living there and I'm not actually bringing in any money. So I was going to go out to London, pick up my stuff, and I needed a ways and means to do that. So I was going to drive my mum's car. So after the weekend, she paid to get me insured in her car, which is awesome. And then she took me out on Tuesday for a little practice test drive, because I actually only passed my driving test like a year and a half ago, which wasn't that long ago, really. And I haven't actually driven a car since I left New Zealand, which was I can't think now, August. So 6, 7, 8 months ago, something like that. Can't do a maths, terrible. But I actually had an automatic in New Zealand, so I haven't actually driven a manual car since a year and a half, 18 months ago, which is quite some time, So we thought we'd have a little practice test. Mum took me out in the car the other day, probably the worst decision she's ever made. I don't know what happens to me, right? But as soon as I'm put under pressure, things go tits up. Honestly, they absolutely do. I don't know what happens, but my common sense goes right out the window. I couldn't drive. I just kept stalling it. I hit a curb. Once you see the car, it's like a Citroen. It's not even a Citroen Saxo. I don't know what it is, but it's much smaller than a Citroen Saxo. It's like as small as one of those blooming electric cars. It's tiny, and I still managed to hit the curb. Don't know what happened there. But my mum, God bless her, she was absolutely pooping herself. And whenever I'm in the car with my mum, right? So when I was like 17, many moons ago now, she used to take me out practicing my driving. And I used to always stall the car, but I used to stall it in the most dangerous of places, right? So I stall it on like a blind bend when there's cars that can just come around the corner and smack into us because they can't see us. And I stall it bang across the middle of the two roads. So either way, I would have got the traffic. And I just couldn't ever restart the car because I was just laughing so much. And the more she panicked, the more I laughed, which is absolutely terrible. And I should never admit that. But it is actually true. And then I start crying as well. It's the other hindrance. So the more I start laughing, the more my eyes will open. I have tears streaming down my face and I can't see because I've got too much water in my eyes. It's a bit of a nightmare, really. So it's a very similar thing happened to me the other day. And then that kind of put her off, actually. So and then when my brother came around later on in the evening to pick up some jump leads, she's like, "Can you take her out?" And but it's been fine. I said, "Mum, do you know what? I'm just gonna take myself out because I think part of it is that when I've got an audience or I've got someone there, I don't know what happens, but it's not that I become self-conscious, or maybe a little bit, like I'm worried about judgment, but I think it's more just the fact that I can feel what she's feeling. My mum is a bit of an angsty woman anyway, she is a bit of a worrier, so especially with me in the car, especially when I'm there laughing in the face of danger, it's not going to fill her with confidence, is it? But I am, I'm pretty fearless. And I know I can pull anything off. I know I can. I just need to not have her in the car with me and I'd be fine. So, I've been out in the car since then and I've been absolutely fine. Been a couple of little mishaps. Yesterday, I couldn't reverse the car off the drive. I don't know what happened, but I have got terrible hand-eye coordination sometimes, and when I overthink things, that's it then. It just goes out the window. So I couldn't reverse off the drive yesterday, and I was trying to, narrowly, reverse it and miss this lamppost. Actually, I say narrowly, I had plenty of room. But for some reason, my hand-eye coordination wasn't working, and I just kept getting closer and closer and closer to this lamppost the more I reversed. So the mum had to come out in the end and reverse and, finish it for me, get me off the drive. It's quite embarrassing. And then today I drove it again to Asda, and I love it. Honestly, it's so fun. I find driving so fun. It's like a little game. It's like a go-kart. I love it. And learning to drive a manual all over again as well was quite fun. But I had a perfect trip today. It's like, it was seamless. And then I get back, and then I stall it on the drive. Bloody hell. Because I start overthinking, imagine if I just screw up at the end, and I do. Honestly, this happened to me all the time when I was learning to drive. Like, I remember years ago, I was on one of my driving tests, and the whole driving test, I aced it. If it was given a score, it would be like an A+. And then I get back to my house, right? I go to park my car just outside of my front door, and my boyfriend at the time and my younger brother there waving at me, like that. I'm making that noise because that's how they would have been, waving at me, like laughing at me, basically. And then it made me go into a fit of panic. So and my driving instructor was like, "Okay, cool, pull in here." So I went to pull up on the curb, and instead of just pulling into the curb, I mounted the curb and nearly knocked over a cyclist. Didn't quite knock him over, but he still went tumbling into a garden. So that was terrible. And then, so that's the kind of thing that happens to me. I remember a couple of times as well, actually, like, which is really bad, but when I was driving a tractor, my friend's tractor, I was only 15 at the time, but I was driving this tractor, I literally just taken over the reins, and I was driving, and she started screaming at me, "Brake, brake, brake!" So I started to brake, and then in my fit of panic, I pushed on the accelerator, so the brake. So then I crashed into a tree and a fence and these like 12-foot hedgerows and completely annihilated them. And when I was in New Zealand as well, I was borrowing my friend's truck. It was an automatic, perfect. Drove to my friend's house, it was just around the corner. Went to park it in front of this brick wall. So I went to push on the brake to obviously finish the parking, to bring the car to a halt. And for some reason, like a dopey knob, I literally pushed on the accelerator. So I went boom, and hit the wall. Who does that? It's worrying. Imagine that in a court of law. If I was like driving down the road and I see a human and someone shouts at me, "Brake!" and I push on the accelerator and I mow them over. It's going to look terrible. It's not going to stand up in a court of law, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's going to look like first-degree murder. So let's just hope that never happens. Touch wood, touch wood, touch wood. It's a little bit worrying, but it's okay. I'm working on rewiring and forming new connections in my brain. So hopefully that's going to strengthen those reflexes. But yeah, no, it's quite fun. I wish I could drive some more, but unfortunately, pretty limited because of self-isolation. What else have I been doing with my time? I've been doing lots of exercise, actually, an excessive amount probably. I would wake up in the morning, doing a meditation, doing yoga. Today, right, so I did some yoga this morning, and then I did some Pilates, and then I did this like dance workout for a Brazilian booty and for my abs. That was quite fun, actually. And then another meditation. And then I always go for a really long... Actually, no, I'll go for a walk with my mum on a lunch break at work. And then later on in the evening, I go to catch the sunset with my dog. So we go for a long 2-hour walk. And then, that's all my exercise then for the day. It's a lot, actually, isn't it? It is a lot. It's pretty excessive. But I'm having quite a lot of fun doing all these like different like videos on YouTube. Like I do yoga every day, and then I mix it up, a bit of ab, a bit of booty, a bit of core, a bit of dance, whatever I feel like at the time. Actually, it's quite fun. So yeah, just kind of varying my day, but I'm really enjoying these walks with my dog. And watching the sunset. It's really, 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 really beautiful. And I've been watching recently like loads of documentaries about the universe, and I've been studying the mind and neuroscience and just the mystical and energy healing and things. So for me, going out for walks, breathing in this fresh air on my own with my dog, and watching that sun in the sky descend is just incredible, really. It's very empowering, and that's kind of like what I wanted to do for my self-isolation. I was like, right, okay, well, if I can't do my radio and I can't do my presenting, what I will do is use this time to introvert and introspect. I'm going to study, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to walk, and I'm going to come out a more rounded, stronger individual. I'm going to curate some self-love, and also expanding your knowledge is definitely the way forward nowadays. That's what I think. Knowledge is power. So what am I studying? So I was looking at courses the other day and thinking, what the bloody hell am I going to study? It's a question I've been asking myself for a very long time now. What do I want to do with my life? Because I just don't know. I want to travel, but then I want to settle and I want love, but I want to travel some more and I want new and exciting. I don't want every day to be the same. I just can't make my mind up. And then I want to do journalism, but then do I want to heal people? Or do I want to heal people? Because if I heal people, I have to deal with this negative energy every day. And you know what? I just want to have fun all the time. I don't want to be drained by that. And I'm such an empath that I will be drained by that. So what really do I want? I probably just be a radio DJ and have a bit of fun. Who knows? So I've been looking at, right, doing either journalism or counselling. And I was looking at doing both those things. It's so confusing because there's so many different courses out there. And I'm a bit confused because does it have to be like nationally or internationally accredited for it to stand for something? Like, can I pay to do a £30 course? Because I can't really afford to do, a 20 grand course or a £3 course, especially with the coronavirus going on right now. Do you know what I mean? So I'm pretty stumped. But if I do a £30 course and it's still got hours and hours and hours of information, is that going to be frowned upon in the professional world when I eventually try to take my journalism out there and try to expand upon that? I don't really know. But then there is things like, travel journalism. Ooh, so I could travel and be a journalist. I don't know. I'm kind of looking at this at the moment. So I was like, anyway, I massively digress. I was looking at doing counselling or journalism. And then, so I was like kind of flitting between the two. And then I was looking at some other courses in energy healing. And then suddenly, before I know it, I've decided that I want to do Reiki. So no brainer there. But then there's so many different Reiki courses that I can do. So I took two of them, right? And I was like flicking back and forwards between each one. And they've got their own little sample videos and things that you can look at. So I just kept going back between them both, looking at them like, which one do I pick? Which one do I pick? Does anyone else struggle with decisions like this? Have like a fear of missing out? Like, fear, is this the right one? Is this going to align with me? Is this one got better content? Is it this one? Honestly, I need to get so much better at making decisions because it's literally like mental torture all day, every day. Just spend hours of my life wasting my life just to making a decision. Do you know what I mean? If I'd actually just made the decision in the first place, I could probably actually have the time to do two courses in the time that it takes me to deliberate between both of them. But anyway, so I made a decision to do a Reiki course and a hypnotherapy course. Oh my lord! So these courses like down from like £150 down to like $14.99. Actually, no, one of them was $13.99. What an absolute bargain! Bargain central. So it is all online, but that's cool. So I'm gonna allocate time every day in my busy schedule. I've been trying to do this actually, but I've been doing so much of my yoga and my exercise and my walks that I just haven't actually had the time to actually sit down and properly study. But I've been doing the Reiki first actually. Which is really super cool. So, like, a lot of people think, this is a bit of like, heebie-jeebie. I've kind of briefly mentioned it to my mum, but she doesn't quite understand it, and she probably just thinks that I'm a crazy weirdo. I am a bit of a crazy weirdo, but that's okay. But Reiki is cool. It's all to do with like the universal energy and understanding that there is a universal intelligence in the world, that we as human beings have the ability to heal ourselves. Because when you think about it, we actually do. We are born before human beings have been on this earth for hundreds and thousands of years, and before doctors came along, or the modern day doctors as we know it, that can go in and cut things out and so forth and give us chemicals to try and help us mend things. Before that, us as human beings used to have to heal ourselves, and we did just fine to a degree. Some would say that obviously our life expectancy was a little bit lower, but again, that's to be deliberated. I mean, look how much cancer is nowadays. That hasn't always been around. I don't care what they say. Cancer is rife now, and that's because of environmental factors, not because of genes are lying to us. That's a whole other conversation. But our bodies have stem cells, and our stem cells are there to help our bodies fight whatever they need to fight and to heal. They're there to develop into whatever our bodies need them to develop into, right? And so there is this intelligence in the universe that is there for us, as you know, to be able to heal ourselves. We want plants to be able to grow, you know, for the whole system of life to be able to function as it does. It's bloody intelligent, and no one quite understands how it works or why it works, but it does. And us human beings have the ability to heal ourselves. Everything we need is within us, and this is a journey I've been on for the last 2-3 years of my life, and it's getting stronger and stronger. So I thought, you know, I might try and you know, embody that a little bit more, dive a little bit deeper, and use this time constructively to actually learn something and to really connect with myself and my body even more. Because again, we've got this huge separation nowadays between our mind and our bodies, and we just live in our heads so much that we're so cut off from our bodies. We're so separated, and we store all this tension in our bodies. We don't understand what we're eating really affects our bodies and our minds too. It affects the whole thing. You know, we create all these bad habits that are just terrible for our bodies and our state of mind. So, you know, in this time I'm going to spend a lot of time outdoors. I'm focusing on my mind and my body and my breath. I'm going to try to curate some really positive habits so that when I come out of this hibernation I am a completely different entity yet again. Not a different entity, I don't want to be different because I do like the core of who I am, but I guess just to build upon that and strengthen that, and to come out fighting, pow pow pow. I would also love, I don't know why, but I would just love, I do know why, but I would love to be a light for people during this time. And I want to use this time constructively and be a positivity in this time where, you know, the vibration is very low. I remember being in London during the beginning of this corona outbreak, and honestly, you could feel it in the air. The energy had just dropped so low, and it's so important that those who can keep it high. And I really do believe that, because you know that when you look at like mob psychology and things, like as a collective, our consciousness, we are one, but as a consciousness, it makes such a difference to the energy in this world. So it's really important that those who can keep that high. So yeah, so Reiki is kind of like a tool for physical, mental, and spiritual health. Like I said, we all have a natural gift to heal. So how Reiki works is that, well, basically, it kind of like just increases your awareness, your insight, and your wisdom, and adds to your personal growth. And we're all vibrational beings. We all, you know, if you look at everything under a microscope, or us under a microscope, we all vibrate, which is incredible. So we all also have like this biomagnetic field that kind of like broadcasts from without us, from inside of us, outside of us. It's incredible. So Reiki is all about, I guess, you know, working on any imbalances in your body, anything, any frequencies that are not where they should be, and I guess kind of rebalancing that and increasing your vibration. To be honest, I've only just started it, but I think it's pretty cool. So at the end of it, I'm going to hopefully practice. It says you can practice on animals, so maybe I'll practice on my dog. Doesn't know what he's got himself in for. Try and rope my mother into practicing on her, but more than that, I'm just going to practice on myself. But there are some Reiki principles, which are really cool to think about every day, which are: I will not worry, I will not be angry, I will do my work honestly, I will give thanks for my many blessings. So basically, practice gratitude, and I will be kind to every living thing, which I think are some really lovely principles to live by. So yeah, I'm gonna look at that. I'm just starting to learn the whole chakra system, which I kind of knew anyway. So I don't know if you know, but the chakra systems are like the spinning wheels of energy, or the energy centers of your body. And you need to keep them all in balance to have, I guess, the best well-being in life. But that's kind of all I know at the moment. But I'm going to become some kind of spiritual guru at the end of it, and I'm really pretty excited about this. So yeah, that's me really. This is my little introduction to speaking freely with Keeley. What else have I'm just trying to think what else I'm going to do with my time off, really. I don't know. I mean, it is day 3. Got a few weeks left to go. Oh, what I am going to try and do actually is get a job as I really want to become a delivery driver for Tesco's. Way your best calls. Yeah, I want to become a little delivery driver. I know I can't obviously speak to people, but I can just drive around all day, listen to my audiobooks and like singing out, blasting music and sing at the top of my lungs. That'd be so fun. For a couple of months, so I can save some money before I head back to London. Either that or a cleaner. They're my kind of options at the moment because there isn't many jobs going on, but I need to kind of pull in some money so that, obviously when this is over, I can get back on the saddle and get moving again. So yeah, I feel like a delivery driver would be quite fun, wouldn't it? In my little van, beep beep beep. I think it would be hysterical. So yeah. And kind of excited to see where my little podcasts are going to go. But yeah, that's a little bit of me, really. It's me, Keeley. Speaking freely with Keeley. Anyway, I'm going to go for a start embarrassing myself any more than I need to. And how long is this one? I don't know. I'm pretty impressed, at how long I can actually talk for. It's pretty impressive. I wish I had some music as well, though, but unfortunately can't because then I can't just play it all or download it all onto YouTube. So it's alright, just got to listen to my beautiful voice. But I'm soon going to be having my very good friend Tristan, who goes by his stage name as Termite. He's going to be on my next show, and we're going to be talking everything Bruce Lipton. And we're going to be talking like quantum physics meets kind of like biology. We're going to be talking actually about the biology of belief. Really cool, really controversial, really excited for it. So yeah, make sure you tune into my next show. Thanks so much for listening to the scramblings of my poor little mind.